Good day everyone, in this video we will be talking about spirituality and sex. People without necessary knowledge tend to go to extremes. Speaking of sex, one extreme is having sex just for pregnancy, and the other extreme is having sex with lots of people. Where is the golden mean? Sex is not only a normal thing, but it can even have a beneficial effect on the physical body, but only if the couple, a man and a woman, love each other, and there is also a spiritual affinity between them. How does this process take place? The source of information here is Michel de Marquet's book Thiaoouba, The Golden Planet. The human being consists of 9 bodies. In the matter of sex, we're interested in 3 of them: fluidic, physiological, and physical. The fluidic body influences the physiological body, which in turn influences the physical body. In the fluidic body, we possess 6 principal points, which the yogis on our planet call chakras. The first chakra is the one situated between our 2 eyes, just a centimeter and a half above the nose. It's the brain of our fluidic body, if you like. It corresponds to the pineal gland, which is placed much further back in our physical brain, but on exactly the same level. At the bottom of the fluidic body and just above the sex organs is found a very important chakra, which Thiaoubians call the Muladhara, and which our yogis call sacred. Above this chakra and meeting the spinal column is the palanthus. It is in the form of a coiled spring and only reaches the base of the spinal column when it is relaxed. For it to become relaxed, it requires the accomplishment of the sexual act between 2 partners who must not only love one another, but also have a spiritual affinity between them. And only at that moment and under these conditions will the palanthus extend to the spinal column, transferring an energy and special gifts to the physiological body, which then affects the physical body. The person concerned will experience happiness in sexual enjoyment that is far greater than normal. When we hear such expressions among people who are very much in love as "we are in 7th heaven, without light," or "we were floating on air," you can be sure that couples were in physical and spiritual accord and made for one another, at least for a while. Certain tantrists have attained this point, but it is still uncommon among them, for still their religions with ridiculous rituals and prohibitions create a real obstacle to attaining this goal. When they look at the forest, they don't see the trees, as Sao said. Going back to our loving couple, the man has experienced great pleasure transformed into beneficial vibrations for the palanthus, thanks to a love which is genuine, and absolute compatibility. All these sensations of happiness were released by the accomplishment of the sexual act. The sensations of happiness are not the same with the female, but the process is the same with her. A woman can bloom in sexual fulfillment, achieving a range of sexual sensations that can release the palanthus and bring about vast improvements in her physical body by way of the fluidic body. This can happen over numerous days of the month, without her becoming pregnant. This is what Sao taught us about. By the way, some scientific studies have already confirmed that sex between people who love each other brings much more benefit and happiness than sex without love. Thus, it's best if people look for a mate based on whether they are suitable for each other in terms of spiritual affinity. What is spiritual affinity? This is my opinion. From previous videos and from my free book, you can know that with each new life we have the opportunity to acquire more and more spiritual knowledge. Spiritual knowledge helps people not to make mistakes, actions and decisions as a result of which intelligent beings will suffer. Every aspect of life has its own spiritual knowledge, so to speak. That is, a person may know how to live and act correctly in one life situation, but he will not know how to act correctly in another. For another person, it may be the other way around. In this case, I believe that such people have no spiritual affinity, and if they decide to have sex, then they will not achieve the relaxation of palanthus. In their case, they might decide to not have sex and to continue looking for a suitable partner. We can touch on the topic of mistakes and aids. We could get rid of sexually transmitted diseases if people would look for a suitable mate and only then would have sex with their partner. I understand that this is not so easy and there is no need to go to extremes and be too demanding, for you could stay alone. So, because of sexually transmitted diseases, you shouldn't have sex with someone you barely know. But what about condoms, you say? Many people know that there is a difference between sex with the barrier in the form of a condom and natural sex without condoms and other barriers. When do you decide to have sex? Answer this question. Do you want to live together all your life? And are you ready to have a child together in case of an unplanned pregnancy? Remember the law of the universe about pain with suffering for our mistakes. Are you willing to live in one of your next lives without a father and or mother, if you leave an unwanted child to the mercy of fate? Also, people, females and males, who do not have a mate should not reject a person who wants to get acquainted with them, just as they should not pay too much attention to the person's appearance. Because even if the person's appearance is not entirely to your taste, you can be similar spiritually, and then you might fall in love with each other. I had an experience when one girl who was not my type smiled kindly, and at that moment I realized that if we knew each other well and were suitable, then I could have loved her for who she was. And if love does not come, then it's okay. Just keep looking. Of course, if a person does not want to get acquainted, then you should not persuade them. Just keep looking. In the end, we must remember that people have free will, and if we encroach on their right to make their own choices, we will make a gross mistake. Having said all that, it goes without saying that such a thing as pick-up line to girls in order to have sex with them should cease to exist. First, many of those pick-up artists will themselves be deceived for the sole purpose of having sex with them in one of their next lives when they live in a female physical body. Secondly, because of them, many girls begin to hate guys, including those who want a normal relationship. For example, I once did a survey and more than 50% of women said that, in their opinion, guys approach them for sex, and about 10% of them said that a scammer was approaching them. And only a few believe that a man is looking for a girl for normal relationship. Then in VK I talked with a girl who said that inadequate guys often write to her. She even has a photo album where she posts screenshots of their letters. Yes, they clearly do not shine with respect for girls. This is bad, because quite a lot of guys just can't find a girlfriend. Because of this, some go to a variety of crimes. Probably in the same video it is worth saying that by sex I mean the standard sex. I do not think that such a thing as anal sex should exist at all, because it's not sex. As for oral sex, I personally do not see anything wrong with it if people are washed and clean. I also think that many of Kama Sutra postures can help achieve phalangeal relaxation. So, the adequate approach to the topic of sex and the search for a soulmate that is suitable in terms of spiritual parameters can improve society and return moral standards. Thank you for watching.